History is often a grand stage, spotlighting monarchs, generals, and revolutionaries. But what about those who operated in the shadows, whose influence rippled through the esoteric undercurrents of their times, only to be forgotten by mainstream narratives? Welcome to the Arcane History channel. Today, we pull back the curtain on 5 remarkably influential figures from the world of occultism. Practitioners, thinkers, visionaries, those whose names you've probably likely never heard from, yet whose stories reveal fascinating dimensions of our shared past. These are the untold stories from the edge of history. Why do some individuals, despite their impact, fade into obscurity? Join us as we rediscover 5 figures who shaped mystical thought, alchemical practice, and esoteric movements, proving that influence doesn't always equate to fame. Our journey begins in the roaring 1920s, a time of jazz, flappers, and deep societal fascination with the exotic and the unknown. Amidst this fervour, a figure known as Tahra Bey emerged in Paris, captivating audiences with his extraordinary abilities. Born Kahia Mensar in Egypt, Tahra Bey presented himself as an oriental missionary and mystic. His stage acts were legendary. He appeared to induce a death-like trance, rendering himself impervious to pain. Needles pierced his skin without drawing blood. His pulse would seemingly stop, and doctors and scientists of the era were baffled. They scrutinized his performances, often leaving with more questions than answers. Was he a master of physiological control, a hypnotist of unparalleled skill, or did he genuinely possess esoteric powers cultivated in the East? While some dismissed him as a charlatan, many credible witnesses attested to the seemingly impossible nature of his feats. Tahra Bey represented the West's hunger for mysticism, a living embodiment of the mysterious Orient. Yet, despite his sensational fame, his name is largely dissolved from popular memory, a forgotten star of bygone spiritual quests. Next, we travel to an era and a place you might least expect to find a dedicated occult practitioner. 17th century Puritan New England. Meet John Winthrop the Younger. Son of the famed Massachusetts Bay Colony Governor, Winthrop Jr. himself was a respected figure, a physician, an industrialist, and a long-term serving governor of the Connecticut colony. But behind his conventional Puritan facade lay a profound and lifelong passion for alchemy and Hermetic philosophy. Winthrop amassed one of the largest alchemical libraries in colonial America, corresponded with leading European alchemists, and even adopted John Dee's mystical Monas Hieroglyphica symbol as his own. He wasn't just dabbling. He was a serious student, seeking not just the Philosopher's Stone, but spiritual enlightenment and practical knowledge to benefit his colony. Interestingly, under his governorship, Connecticut adopted laws that were surprisingly tolerant for the time, including effectively banning the execution of witches decades before the Salem hysteria. Did his esoteric beliefs, which often emphasized hidden unity and natural philosophy, contribute to this more measured approach? A forgotten alchemist shaping a fledgling American colony, a true arcane thread in history. Our third figure, Paschal Beverly Randolph, was a force of nature in 19th century America. A free African American man who carved out a unique and often controversial path as an occultist, physician, spiritualist medium, and author. Born in 1825, Randolph's life was a whirlwind of travel, self-education, and esoteric exploration. He was a powerful orator and a prolific writer, founding several Rosicrucian and esoteric orders, including the Brotherhood of Jewess. He is perhaps most renowned, and in his time most notorious, for his pioneering work on sex magic, and he believed it was a key to spiritual development and personal power. Randolph's teachings were often radical, blending elements of Western esoteric traditions with his own unique insights, informed by his own experiences and travels. He faced immense prejudice and misunderstanding, yet he tirelessly promoted his own vision of occult science. While his influence can be traced in later esoteric movements, his name and specific contributions, particularly as a foundational African American figure in Western occultism, they remain far less known than they deserve to be. He truly operated on the very edge of accepted history. Now we travel far back in time to the crucible of alchemical thought in Hellenistic Egypt, likely between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD. Here we uncover a foundational figure, Mary the Jewess, also known as Maria Prophetessa. While details of her life are scarce, shrouded in the mists of antiquity, her influence on the very practice of alchemy is undeniable. Early alchemical writers like Zosimos and Panopolis frequently quoted her and attribute her the invention of several essential pieces of laboratory equipment. Ever heard of a bain-marie or a double boiler used in kitchens worldwide? Well, that's Mary's bath, named after her. She's also accredited with developing the tribikos, a type of still, and the keratakis, an apparatus for collecting vapors and working with metals. Her famous axiom, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and out of the third comes the 1 as the 4th, speaks to the philosophical depth of her alchemical understanding. A true pioneer, a woman shaping the field that the world would obsess with and the scholars would love for centuries, Mary the Jewess is testament to the often unseen contributions of women in history of science and also in mysticism. Our final figure transports us to the decadent, art-fueled atmosphere of late 19th century Paris. Enter Joséphin Péladan, a novelist, art critic, and a self-proclaimed Rosicrucian Magus of immense flamboyance. Péladan, who styled himself Tsar, a title implying esoteric authority, was a spectacle. He found the Ordre de la Rose-Croix catholique et Esoterique du Temple et du Graal. How was that one, guys? In 1891. Seeking to revive Rosicrucianism through art, beauty, and a mystical form of Catholicism. His most famous endeavor was the Salon de la Rose et Croix, annual art exhibitions that showcased symbolist artists who shared his esoteric ideals. Think ethereal figures, mythical scenes, and a rejection of the mundane realism. Péladan was a controversial figure, to say the least, often lampooned for his dramatic pronouncements and elaborate costumes. Yet, his salons had a significant impact on the symbolist art movement and the broader esoteric revival of the era. He believed art was a pathway to the spiritual truth, and sought to re-enchant a world which he saw as increasingly materialistic. Sound familiar? While some of the artists he championed are still remembered, Péladan himself, the orchestrator of this mystical artistic movement, often remains a curious footnote rather than a recognized cultural catalyst. Tahra Bey, John Winthrop Jr., Paschal Beverly Randolph, Mary the Jewess, and Joséphin Péladan. 5 individuals separated by centuries and continents, yet united by their deep entanglement with the occult, the esoteric, and the less traveled paths of knowledge. They influenced their times in subtle and profound ways, yet their stories have often been whispered rather than proclaimed. It really begs the question, how many other pivotal figures just linger beyond the edges of our common historical understanding, their contributions waiting to be discovered or rediscovered? What forces dictate who is remembered and who is forgotten? These are really interesting things to think about. But hey, which of these forgotten figures intrigued you the most? Or do you know any other occult practitioners who you think deserve to be on this list and revived out of the shadows? Let us know your thoughts, have a comment, let me know, it would really mean the world to me, and share your suggestions in the comments below. We really love hearing from you and all those curious minds out there. So thanks again for your time, and if you found this at all illuminating, interesting, however you want to say it, just drop a comment and a like, and subscribe if you want to join for some more interesting stories. Much love, guys. Thanks a lot.